Hey, I'm Jay Cosmic. Hey, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be completing another Marvel Legends unboxing and toy review. Today's video is going to be X-Men themed, as indicated by the top I am wearing. The figurines I will be unboxing and reviewing are the re-release of Mystique, Outback Storm, X-Men 97, Wolverine and Storm. Yes, double the Storm. And Cyclops and Jean Grey from X-Men 97. The first figurine I will be unboxing will be the re-release of Mystique. This really isn't much different from the Mystique that was previously released, the only difference being a slight change in the paint job. I did love the previous Mystique release so much that I bought two of them, and I did buy two of this one, mostly because Mystique can fit in a lot of different places. So with that said, let's unbox. And while I unbox, I am going to talk about the character, my thoughts on her, as well as my thoughts on the figurine, just because with this being a release, I'm already going to have a review for her before taking her out of the package. That being 5 out of 5. I liked her enough to buy 2 copies of the old figurine and 2 copies of the re-release, just because, again, Mystique fits in enough places. Now, compared to the old figurine, I do like the paint job on this one just a little more. She just has a little bit more pop to her, especially the blue. I think I like the red on the previous better, but my one gripe I do have with the head released that I did notice online is the swappable head is either Red Queen Jean Grey, at least it looks like Red Queen Jean Grey, or it's meant to be Mystique non-blue, when really we could have easily had an alternate head for Destiny, who did not get one in her box set release with Rogue. So we're going to pop Mystique out of the packaging here. At least attempt to pop her out, because holy crap, her head is really wedged in. And here is the re-release of Mystique. We're going to pop her accessories out. So she comes with 2 weapons. A smaller pistol, as you see here. And a bigger weapon. Here's the head. That should have been Destiny, but could easily be repainted. I've never repainted or altered any of my figurines beyond swapping a head or hands here and there. Just because I'm a little bit of a purist when it comes to my figurines and collecting. I like to keep them as close to how they were as possible. There are a lot of talented people out there who do great custom figurines. Part of me is holding out for some of these characters to get releases, which will be another video itself. Every year I'll probably do a 10 anticipated figures, but that'll be another video. But anyways, Mystique. Hey, so this is recorded after the fact, but upon looking at the Mystique figurine closer, there are a couple flaws that will bump her down to a 3.5 to a 4. That being her hands cannot fit the guns that were provided to her, so she cannot hold them. And as well, I love spare hands. I love that she has grippy hands. I don't see the point of these spare hands. Yeah, I guess she gets bumped down a little bit just because she gets provided accessories that the hands on her body cannot grip. So my grade for Mystique does change slightly. The next figurine I'm going to review is Outback Storm. I already have some thoughts on this figurine, mostly positive, but I am going to give them while we unbox. So the first thought I had initially when this figure was announced was the hair is incorrect. In the era that she wore this costume, her hair was not quite a mohawk, but it was growing out from the mohawk, so it was almost mohawk-like, but still big. Whereas the figurine here just has the big hair that you would expect on a regular Storm figurine, like her white costume, her 90s costume more so. Storm's packaging is open. Now, the detail in the costume itself is phenomenal. I do wish we got an alternate head because there was a period where she wore this costume and had the short hair. But you could take the figurine from the space set and pop that on here, but then that body won't have a head. So, again, enough of the heads and bodies are swappable. I'm fine doing that. So let's pop her out of the plastic. I do love the matte black. It very much reflects the leather look of the costume, which I assume is what the costume was made out of in the comics. I do love the fine lines, the details. I love the figure from the neck down, from the neck up, just because the hair is wrong. I gotta knock some points off of that. So, all in all, before I give her a final grading, let's go over the accessories. That being her with extra hands that shoot lightning. Oh, and the obligatory fists that are going to go in the storage container because not every character needs a fist, but I will die on that hill. And the other hands with the lightning bolts here, which I prefer having extra power signatures over unnecessary fists because not everybody's punchy. Yeah, Storm was punchy, but that was when she didn't have her powers. In this costume, she did have her powers. Now, the final grading of this figurine, I am going to give her a 4 out of 5 just because the body, phenomenal. Love the costume, love the details. The accessories are nice. I just don't like that the head is inaccurate, but this is coming from somebody who has read the comics and knows the original source material, which I'm sure if you're that person, you have that gripe as well. So that is Outback Storm. The next figurine I'm going to unbox and review will be Storm and Wolverine. So let's pop that open here. Specifically, this is from the X-Men 97 cartoon when they got out of those god-awful 90s outfits. Love Jim Lee. His work is iconic, but I know I mentioned it in another video. If I don't see those looks again on the characters, I would be glad. And having Storm, Wolverine, and just the whole team go into their classic looks and just do something different was refreshing to see in the cartoons. I know not everybody feels that way, but let's pop Wolverine out because let's get him done and over with. So this Wolverine looks very similar to the Secret Wars Wolverine, which I will admit I actually liked it. It's a decent Wolverine figurine with decent articulation, great paint job, although I am noticing the legs are darker than the upper if you look close up. Or maybe I'm just being nitpicky. Again, I kind of have a bias against Wolverine just because we get so many figurines and just everything of him. But let's pop out his other accessories before I get to an actual review of the figurine. Here is a Logan head, which looks nice. And I feel like the quality of his claws every year have gotten better with the release of newer figurines. So while I'm not a fan of Wolverine, while this is essentially just another repaint of previously released Wolverines, I do gotta give him a 4 just because I feel like the legs and the torso don't match with the yellows. That's me, again, probably being nitpicky. There's a little bit of difference in the skin color of the armpits and the arms if you look really close up. So that's my review of Wolverine. He gets a 3.5 to 4 just because he's Wolverine, but there are some issues with the paint, but only if you look close enough. So next up, I'm going to pop out Storm, which I do like this Storm figurine more than the Outback one. Although I am glad to see Storm get some love. She has so many iconic and amazing costumes, and the fact that so few have been released is just another gripe I have. I love collecting the figurines, but we do need a variety of characters to be released. So just shoehorning in a Wolverine and an Iron Man, again, I'm beating a dead horse, into every set is just... We got Storm here with some great looks, like her Krakoa look, some of her other 90s looks outside the cartoon look. Here is X-Men 97 Storm, after she got her groove back. Now, she does come with an alternate head, which we're going to pop out. Here she is, feeling the rage, which is honestly an accurate representation of living in 2025. A cape that is more flowy. And finally, when that Lady Electro figurine was released, I put the lightning from her on my Storm, so the fact that Storm now has her own lightning is vindication on the fact that she should have had that to begin with. Now, the fists are already on her hands, but her other hands are the lightning ones, which I will put on. And you know where the fists are going, in the storage container. So we're going to pop these out. And here are the lightning hands. This is a solid Storm action figure in her classic look. Very reminiscent of the one that was released with, what was it, Thunderbird? Yes, it was released with Thunderbird. The skin tone especially is just, she looks phenomenal. I gotta give Storm 5 out of 5, and this isn't just because I love the character. The quality of the figurine is top notch. There is a lot of great articulation in the arms and legs, and as well as the head, and the fact that you can swap her cape and her head as well as hands. I just love that there's a lot of options for this character. The last figurines I'm going to unbox and review will be Marvel Girl and Cyclops. I'm just going to pop them out of the box. I do have a spot for Cyclops, Jean Grey, Outback Storm. Actually, I have a spot for all of them already. I don't need to worry about where I am putting them. Don't need to worry about moving anybody around. But here are the figurines before popping them out of the plastic. They look great. For such a simple look, this is quite a classic Cyclops costume. And it's something I'd like to cosplay eventually. It's simple, it's recognizable. The focus is on his visor and his optic blasts. That came out easy. Now, Cyclops comes with other accessories as well. The hands on his body are the fists, which are going to come off. Here is an optic blast to attach to his spare head. Here is the spare head where he is gritting his teeth. An optic blast that is actually firing and attaches to the visor. Fingers to push the button on his visor, or finger guns. And a neutral hand that is not a fist. What I love about these X-Men 97 double 2-pack sets is the amount of accessories you get with both figurines. You get an alternate head, you get a power signature, and the quality of the figures themselves are great. I love the matte paint job. It reflects the cartoon design very well. I just feel like doing a gloss paint or just adding extra texture wouldn't do the figures justice. And it stands out from the versions of these costumes that were previously released while still being something new and updated. So Cyclops, I'm probably going to give 4 or 5 out of 5. Honestly, 5 out of 5. I feel like I'm being too nice again, but I don't have any negatives. It's a good figurine with a good amount of accessories. Next up, we're going to pop out Jean Grey, who also has an alternate head, alternate hands, and power signatures. The alternate head is more angry, gritted teeth. The hands are more telepathic, more psychic powers, like they just feel more fitting than the fists. Although the fists, I guess, are very much like I am focusing and using intense power. And I am noticing right away on Jean Grey, maybe this is just an X-Men 97 stylization, although can't really tell on Storm because her boot's already black, but Jean Grey has the black lines on the front of the boot that Emma Frost had on hers. So this is Jean Grey from X-Men 97 in her Marvel Girl costume. Let's pop out her other accessories. Here is her spare head. It's interesting that her power signature here is blue as well, because I always picture Jean Grey kind of having pink, but then Psylocke has pink, and yeah, I guess who claims pink? Love the Jean Grey figurine. I don't really have any notes, any gripes, any negativity. The one is that she has no articulation in her in her torso, at least her upper torso. Her lower does, though, so I guess that kind of makes up for it, so she can at least turn. Her legs have okay movement, although the skirt does kind of restrict a little bit. We do have a slit on the side here that allows her legs to be posed a little bit more. I'm probably going to give Jean Grey the same as Cyclops, 4 to 5. You know what? They both get 4.5. Solid figurines overall, no negatives. Yeah, they're both 5. Again, I probably am being too nice, and no, it's not the Canadian. I just don't have any negatives, and I feel like a lot is covered. The boots and the gloves match. The dress is solid, all the same green. Decent amount of accessories. Yeah, Jean Grey, 5 out of 5 stars. Now that the unboxing is complete, I'm picking my top figurines from this haul, and I gotta give it to the X-Men 97 figurines, that being the Jean Grey, the Cyclops, the Storm, and the, well, no, maybe not Wolverine. Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Storm. Wolverine is probably my lowest rated just because of the slight color differences in the paint, but again, that's me being nitpicky. And I guess the only other negative was Outback Storm, only because the hair is not accurate. But again, that's one of those details where if you know the source material, it'll bother you. Otherwise, it's a great addition to any collector's shelves. I hope you enjoyed my unboxing and review of these figurines. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you can stay tuned in for anything else I release. And be sure to check out my Patreon as well, which is linked in my profile. And speaking of Patreon, let's get to the shoutouts. So I wanted to thank everyone who has signed up for the Liftoff tier, as well as the Cosmic Defender tier. I'm going to be shouting out the Cosmic Defenders, starting with Michael Menendez, Cedric Lawson, Joseph Guzman, Enema Frost, Sorry I'm Adrian, RP Hall, Nick Tomboy, Max, Kia the Seasons, Kay, Jacob, Sly Breadward, Rainbow Kid, Callisto Wait, Galoo Stick, Todd, Ricochet Intent, Lorenz McLean, Jay, Donovan D. Davis, Angel Dayton Lara, Cyrus Sulkak, Ramiro Alvarez, Craig Cole, Michael Woods, Kevin C., at Acadorama, Ben Frederick, Jordy Lestrange, Alextro25, Laxi, Brian Ward, Rye Scott, Jay Good, Connor, Mackenzie McBynum, Riceratops, Significant Dream, Mark, Matthew, Mateus, Check, Jacob Lott, What the, Phantom Portal 03, Nate J. Jordan, Sailor Star Collector, David Roth, Adam Sarah, Tyler C. Smith, Nick Benson, Leafy, Dan Nichols, Troy Bowman Frund, C1976, Nick, Brian Mastiano, RR, Paul Roberts, Articulate Particulate, I love saying that name, Matt Stark, Webbs, B, Seth Martin, GB, and Mia. Thanks again for tuning in.